Sometimes, like today, when I go for a walk, I bring along an apple. This is a Red Delicious. I love Red Delicious apples, and I enjoy sometimes just munching an apple while I walk. And I can toss the core into the woods, and the squirrels or the deer or some other creature will enjoy finishing it off and cleaning it up. There's an old proverb, I learned it as a kid, maybe you did too: an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now, what is a proverb? Well, a proverb is a short, wise statement about how things usually are, how things usually work. And now, proverbs typically are metaphorical. An apple a day, keeping the doctor away, isn't talking about the apple being a magical medicine. The idea is if you eat healthy, you'll be healthy. If you eat healthy every day, you won't have to see the doctor as much. Now, something else about a proverb, it's not a promise. It's not a prediction or a prophecy. It's not a guarantee saying if you eat healthy every day, you'll never have to see a doctor. No, you might still catch the flu from somebody else, or, God forbid, the COVID-19 virus. No matter how healthy you eat, you can still get sick. So a proverb isn't a promise, it's metaphorical, and it's a short, wise statement about how things usually work, how they work out. One of my favorite books in the Bible is the book of Proverbs, mostly written by Solomon, very wise king of Israel. The entire book is a listing of short proverbs, wise statements about how things usually work. And sometimes when you read the book of Proverbs, it's important to remember what it is. Right at the beginning it says, these are the Proverbs of Solomon, so it's a book of Proverbs. I need to respect that. I'm almost 74, will be in just a few weeks. And if you came to me and said, hey, we're going to play basketball, and you expected me to play like I could when I was 18, then you aren't respecting who I said I was, or you aren't respecting who I am. At 74, I can't play basketball like I could at 18. And you won't expect that of me. It would be disrespectful. And so as I study and interpret the book of Proverbs, it's important to respect the book for what it says it is, the book of Proverbs. Not promises, not guarantees, not prophecies. This is the way it absolutely will happen. It's a book of Proverbs, short, wise statements about how things usually work, how they generally work out in the world. For example, here's one of the Proverbs. Proverbs 11:25, a generous person will prosper. Another more literal translation says a generous person will be made fat. Uh-oh. In other words, I shouldn't be generous if I need to diet. No, it's not saying that at all. In that culture, most people were thin because they couldn't afford to have much food. So to be fat was a sign that you were doing very well financially. You were prospering. And the proverb is that a generous person will prosper, be fat. Now, is that true in absolutely every case? Is every generous person prospering, healthy? Well, actually, the fact is that in our world, the most generous people are usually poor people. Now, certainly, in some senses, they are prospering. They're benefiting from their characteristic of being generous. It changes the kind of person they are, and that's a very good thing. Here's another interesting proverb, Proverbs 28:18, the one whose walk is blameless is kept safe. Well, that certainly is usually true. If you live the right way, you will be safe. People who live in a foolish way, an unwise way, if they are always crossing the line into things they shouldn't do, that's not particularly safe. But remember, it's a proverb. This is the way things usually work. It's not a guarantee that if you live a good life, you'll never experience danger. One other proverb I'll mention, it's a very familiar one to many, Proverbs 22:6, says, if you train a child in the way they should go, when they're old, they'll not depart from it. Many parents have felt very guilty because they really tried to do the right thing, and yet they have a child, maybe one out of several, one who walks away from all of the values that they were taught, and the parent says, well, what did I do wrong? After all, Proverbs says, no, wait. It's not a promise, it's not a prediction or a prophecy, it's a proverb. This is how life usually works. It's not that there are no exceptions to that. I love the book of Proverbs, but as I study it, interpret it, I need to give it respect. I need to respect it for what it says it is. And when you're reading the Bible, you have to remember that parts of the Bible are stories, parts are proverbs, some are poetry, some are letters written to someone in the first century. There's a lot of history. And if I'm going to treat the Bible with respect, then I need to pay attention to what it is, to the different parts. You don't interpret a poem the same way you do history. One last thing about Proverbs. Many people have engaged in the habit of reading the proverb of the day. Today is April 2nd, so this morning I read the second chapter of Proverbs. And there are 31 chapters, and so in most months, if you did that, you'd read through the book of Proverbs every day. If you do that habit, then don't be hard on yourself if you miss a day. Just pick up on the next date, and the next time around, you'll pick up the verse. I know this: anyone who really studies the book of Proverbs will be wise. Thanks for joining me on my walk. Enjoy an apple today.